Good evening, friends. This is Akram Houque, your host of this evening. Today, I am honored to be with Professor Ujjwal K. Chowdhury. Welcome, sir, to our show, Dean Media, Pearl Academy. And today, we are going to talk with Professor Chowdhury. We are going to discuss about 10% reservation bill that the ruling government has recently cleared by the parliament. And is it a masterstroke or it is a mere populist agenda? Professor Chowdhury, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
And the first, let me present some basic facts about the bill, then we'll come back to the discussion. We'll be joined by another panelist soon, but we thought we'll start the discussion from here, and then we'll have his comments also. So the Modi government's reservation bill to grant 10% quota in government jobs and education for economically weaker sections has been passed, and the bill guarantees that any people below the annual income of 8 lakh and owning a house lesser than or 5 acres of land are eligible for this reservation. How do you see this bill? Is it first question I want to ask, is it a masterstroke or it's just a mere populist agenda?
It's a master election stunt. 90 days before election, if you bring in a law that tells 10% of all the government jobs and the government institutions, seats in educational institutions are reserved for economically backward people, and a law that requires amendment of the constitution, yes, the parliaments, both houses have already passed it, but 50% of the assemblies have to pass to make it a particularly constitutional amendment. How do you think you can pass in 90 days time, out of which 45 days are code of conduct period? How are you going to pass it across the country? So obviously it's an election stunt. You know you cannot pass it, and then already in Indra Saini case, the Supreme Court has already told that you cannot cross 50% of total number of seats in any educational institute or any government job or government department. Not more than 50% will be in the reserved category. How really can you do that then? So basically you are just doing it to keep the upper caste happy, particularly after loss, ruling party after a loss in 3 Hindi heartland states. If you remember, in 2014, there were 9 states of India which had given 89% of the total seats owned by BJP and NDA. Among those 9 states, 3 states are lost just now. And the situation in UP, the master state, is in a bad shape after Bua and Babua have come together. So obviously the BJP needs the upper caste. And the upper caste, urban upper caste, has been unhappy on many points. Demonetization, GST and many things. So this is an election stunt.
Right.
The quick answer to that is that if you raise other issues, we'll talk.
Right. So first of all, I want to come back to the point. Are there enough jobs?
That's the basic question. That was my next point to tell. Council for Monitoring Indian Economy has come out with the data only some 10 days ago that in 2018, India has lost 11 million jobs, 1 crore 10 lakh jobs. Man, you were supposed to give 2 crore jobs every year when you came to power. You promised that. And in the last year of your rule, you are losing 1 crore and 10 lakhs. Not to speak about the demonetization losses of the 2017. This 1 crore 10 lakhs also is largely due to demonetization. Many other issues are also there. So when you are losing jobs, you are creating new reservation. And reservation what? Are bhai, desert, if you break a desert into small groups, even if you get a large chunk of the desert, what does it matter? You can't grow trees there. It's dry. It's all sandy. So रेगिस्तान में जमीन आपको 1 एकड़ मिले या 10 एकड़ मिले, 10% मिले, 18% मिले, फर्क क्या है? You declare jobs, and for economically backward people, declare benefits. Manrega is there. Your support to new business is there. Declare other benefits for the economically poorer sections of the people. Declare what can you do on medical benefit and educational benefit. Maybe give them free admissions. That's fine.
Right.
Bring in financial benefits for the weaker section. Why are you giving a bluff of reservation when there are no jobs? मेरे पॉकेट में 100 रुपया नहीं है, मैं आपको कहता हूं कि मेरे पॉकेट में जितने उसके 10% आपका है. पहले तो पैसे होने चाहिए.
So I'll come back to the other points, but first, basic and genuine question: in this country, whichever political party that comes to power, reservation has been one of the most populist movements.
Totally agree.
How far do you think reservation?
Yes, it's not just about BJP.
Has reservation been able to solve the problem, the core problem of this country?
Not at all. The founders of Indian Constitution wanted reservation for 10 years, and it has continued for 7 decades now, 70 years. And the benefit of reservation has largely been taken by the creamy layer of the reserved category people. So it was actually not for economic growth or economic development. The reservation was brought in for social justice, because there was a huge discrimination towards people of lower, so-called lower caste.
Right.
But my question is, if this has not solved the problem in 7 decades, and the same party, when in opposition, has been opposing Mandal Commission, because Mandal Commission brought in extra 29% reservation,
right,
and increased the total reservation to 49.5% today. OBC reservation they brought.
Right.
So they opposed Mandal, and they brought Kamandal in the form of Ayodhya Ram Janmabhoomi Mandir issue, the controversy.
Right.
The controversy is still not solved 28 years later, and you are bringing back new reservation. So finally you are accepting that Mandal wins Kamandal.
Right.
This is a bluff.
So this is a bluff. Now, how, from the BJP think tank's point of view, why and how have they suggested that this kind of...
that you don't have to execute now till the elections, because the time will not allow you. It has already gone to the court. Students for Youth for Equality has already gone to Supreme Court against this 10%. So it will be sub judice for some time. Though the parliament has passed it, it has to be passed by the assembly. So neither the judicial scrutiny is over, nor the 50% of the assembly support is guaranteed. Therefore, in the next 90 days, it cannot be passed. And last 45 days is code of conduct before elections. Hence, declare it, tell the upper caste your intention is for them, and not only upper caste. This economically backward section includes Muslims, Christians as well. Because technically, you have not said which caste, you have just said unreserved category people. So you tend to at least couple this with triple talaq bill and try to win over the Muslims as well.
Right.
So this is a masterstroke for electoral gains. So the think tank has suggested from there. Second point, the whole argument of the upper caste was merit argument. The merit argument goes for a toss when they accept 10% reservation.
Right.
So that is another reason they wanted to take away the merit argument from the hands of the so-called merit argument from the hands of the upper castes, and make it look like a social justice, including economic justice. So these are the reasons that the think tank has suggested. However, I do not think people will be fooled, because people are seeing their real life, they are experiencing the joblessness.
Right.
Not only lessness, but job loss as well.
Do you think this trick is going to work for them? In the context, I just want to give a comparative analysis that when Congress was in power, UPA was in power, they brought a farmer waiver, loan waiver scheme of 60,000 crores. And now this.
Loan waiver helps.
Right.
Loan waiver helps the completely devastated, marginalized sections of the population.
Right.
When you can have a loan waiver of 3 lakh crores for the top 200 business houses of the country, why not have 56,000 crores for the poorest people of the country? So loan waiver works at a short. I do say, and I must mention here, loan waiver is not a policy solution.
Yeah.
It is a short-term policy.
It's not a sustainable solution.
There has to be Subramaniam MS Swaminathan committee's entire suggestions are there. MSP at 1.5%, 1.5 times of the input costs of farming, and there are many other structural changes. Warehouse facilities, cold storage facilities. Many points are there.
Right.
So those are the things that will solve. But that's another issue. In the short term, loan waiver is an immediate benefit. But 10% is not an immediate benefit, because there are no jobs to be given.
Yeah.
And how would you really calculate? That's another point I would like to point out here.
Right.
8 lakhs income or below are economically poor, man. If that's so, that's 99% of the Indian population.
Absolutely.
Why are you charging taxes for 20,000 and more income per month? 8 lakhs means 66,000 rupees per month.
I think the better populist measure would have been that no tax below 8
That
lakh
is a
income.
better idea. They should have, maybe, they might do it even now because they are one after another bringing in, shock, according to them, shock elements. So just now because they are failing on the agrarian front, so they are revamping the nationalism versus anti-nationalism debate by bringing in the JNU students case. But however, let's stick to this point. 8 lakhs means 66,000 rupees per month. But if you or I earn 20,000 rupees more than that, which we do, and we are paying taxes. Right. So how can an economically poor person be asked to pay taxes, and that to 66,000 is the high tax range?
But if someone is earning 50,000 rupees per month, is he economically backward?
That's another question. Either you agree that up to 6 lakhs or 8 lakhs, we will not charge any tax.
Right.
Agree to that. Then bring in benefit for them. But in my opinion, in India, where the per capita income is 13 or 14,000 rupees per head, 66,000 is actually upper middle class, not a poor class.
What I really feel surprising here, Professor Chowdhury, is that even people within BJP political think tank and any BJP educated supporter cannot agree with the basic concepts of this reservation bill.
I perhaps think so, but there are sections who believe that upper caste consolidation will happen. But let me tell you something.
But how
I am against looking at the entire electorate from a caste perspective only. Everyone should be individually deciding on whom to vote, why to vote, and on what factors. Having told that, even if you consolidate the entire upper caste, first of all, I do not think this 10% drama will cut any ice with the Muslims or the Christians. It will not.
No.
So basically, if you bring in the upper caste Hindu votes together, it is not more than 15% of the electorate of the country. Not more than 15% of the electorate of the country, of which the Brahman Baniya Thakur group is already a supporter of BJP, at least in North India.
So at
least in North India. They are basically trying to consolidate. But this will have no impact. In fact, this will be actually considered a bit negative among the tribals and the scheduled castes. And the Muslims and the Christian population will have nothing to benefit from it. So therefore, I do not think it's going to. Otherwise also, it will not stand the constitutional scrutiny, constitutional positioning or legal scrutiny. Because in the Indra Saini case, it's already 50% cap is there. So there will be real problems with this particular policy as we go ahead.
Right. I just want to present some facts. We are talking about, so this reservation is for government jobs and education institutions. Now the fact is, from 1991 till 2013, as per the report research that we have, it shows that the government jobs have declined and decreased by 8,46,000 plus. Secondly, there are 44.9 million job seekers are there in the country.
That's one point.
So
there are several government positions which are vacant as well.
Right.
Declared positions.
That we won't come to that later actually.
I'm sure you will have research on that.
So on the other hand, there are a lot of PM Modi's biggest challenge is going to be there are 29 lakh vacant posts in government, in central government, in state government.
Fulfill those 29 lakhs. Now if you say, is 29 lakhs का 10% अभी हम economically backward of upper caste दे सकते हैं, यानी 3 लाख हुए. बट वो 3 लाख को इंप्लीमेंट करने के पहले 50% असेंबली में ये कानून को पास करना पड़ेगा. सुप्रीम कोर्ट में ये कानून को जीतना पड़ेगा. आप कब कैसे कर सकते हो 90 दिन के अंदर?
Right. So that is again another debate that it violates the very constitutional framework of the country.
Reservation was about social justice.
Right.
And there are schemes about economic justice.
Now,
so economic and social have been messed up in this manner.
How do you see an economy or a society or a country having more than 50% reservation? Then what is rest for the others? How is it going to work?
Question comes, who is the
other? Then
my ulta question. If 8 lakh के नीचे जिनका income है, if they come under the economically backward,
it is showing 99% of the rural household
will come.
Comes under that.
So now you have only 4-5% of people left. For that 40% of the jobs. So you are actually creating 95% of people, 60% of the jobs. And the remaining 5% of people, 40%, or 65% also, these 95% also will apply for 40%.
Right.
So there is a huge confusion.
Absolutely.
First of all, in my opinion, I know this is a debatable thing. Many people would contest it. I am against reservation under any situation, or whether it's caste, class, or any condition. Rather, I am in favor of giving benefits of education, medical, and housing, and many other benefits that can be done for economically poorer section. Now, reservation was about social injustice, was about discrimination. Illegalize it. Illegalize all form of social discrimination. Would you believe that a friend of mine who hails from scheduled caste and is an IAS officer, his peon refused to serve him tea because the peon is Mishra and he is from scheduled caste. So this is something ingrained in the culture, in the blood of the country. Now this has to be illegalized. Right. The peon has to lose his job, as simple as that. You cannot discriminate a human being from the other on the basis of identity or birth.
Absolutely. So we want to discuss two aspects now. I want to bring in two aspects of it. First of all, government is not a mass job creator.
Right.
The private sector is the mass job creator,
right,
especially in the economic model that we are into now.
Right.
Now, the biggest challenge of this ruling government is they have promised that they will create 1 million or 2 million, 1 crore or 2 crore jobs per annum. That's 20 million. Now, in December 2000, the research that is given to me says 2.3 lakh jobs we have created in 16 somewhere.
That's 10% of what they are supposed to do.
That's 10%, huh? And now 63% of the people who says there is no change. There's a survey by CLNHR. It says that 63% of the people see there is no change or unemployment reduction.
Yeah.
The trend is there. Now, the other horrific and frightening figure is that 80 to 90,000, it is being suspected or being feared that 80 to 90,000 people are going to lose their jobs because of the economic, toll drums that's happening in the country because of the
So the fundamental point is not reservation but economic success.
Right.
And for economic stability, what is required is the purchasing power of the larger number of people has to expand. And that can only happen when people can sell their skills or products in the market and earn income. When you find onion farmers or milk cultivators are bringing their cans of milk or tons of onion and throwing out on the streets because even the transport cost is not covered, what is the benefit of reservation there? Where will the purchasing power come to people's hands? And if the purchasing power doesn't come to people's hands, they won't buy. So then you are in a vicious cycle of stagflation. On one side there is inflation, on the other side there is stagnation of the economy, and you have a combination of stagflation, which is extremely horrific. So therefore there is no other situation but to bring in policies that bring forth jobs and higher purchasing power in the hands of the people.
I want to come back to the basic and common challenges of this country that it is facing. How do you see that this ruling government has been able to, really bring solutions to the core problems of this country?
Which I will appreciate on certain points. I appreciate Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, but it's more a slogan than an actual work on ground. There has to be really mechanized, automated cleanliness or sanitation drive. However, for a prime minister to make the slogan of Swachhata as a household thing, and even films coming out on toilet, Ek Prem Katha and all that, I really appreciate that. I appreciate stand-up mission or startup mission. But the startup mission is stopped at the moment. I appreciate NSDC, National Skills Development Council, but NSDC has stopped functioning and creating new skills development programs. I appreciate Mudra Yojana, but Mudra Yojana has already led to a reasonable amount of non-performing assets of the banks. People have been given loans in such a manner without proper documents and without actually checking whether they are investing the money or buying a bike. Without doing all that, without the due diligence, and Mudra Yojana has led to a loss of lot of money of the banks. So therefore, there have been certain things which are good. Bullet train, a lot of talk has been done. Smart city, a lot of talk has been done.
Right.
Show me one smart city which has been successfully completed in 5 years.
Right.
Bullet train has not progressed. As you know, Japan has stopped the program because the acquiring of the land in Gujarat is not happening as per their expectation, and whatever has been acquired against the wish and will of the people. Therefore, Japan has withdrawn. So there we come to a situation where there is no progress on any economic front. This election can be won by the ruling party only on 3 issues. 1, reservation. So Vikashpur is gone, Arakshan Purush is back. Kamandal is gone, Mandal is back. So that's point one. Point two, nationalism versus anti-nationalism. So while there will be riots and murders and all that, lynching and all that, but the sedition will not be on the lynchers, sedition will be on slogan shouting people. Even without checking whether they've shouted those slogans or not. But that's a different thing. But slogan shouting students cannot have a sedition law against them. 80-year-old intellectual Hiren Gohain cannot have a sedition law against them. So that will be the second plank of this government to look at. And the third plank that they will do, they will not leave the Ram Janmabhoomi issue also. They will keep the pot boiling. Very interestingly, election will be timed with the Kumbh Mela. You will see that. You will see the dates of the elections. With the Kumbh Mela will end and elections will start. And the entire Kumbh Mela will be used to bring aggressive Hindutva back on the boil.
Welcome to your show, sir. We are discussing on, so we have almost like covered a lot of points on the recent 10% reservation bill that this government has passed, and it's passed by the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. But somehow still there is controversy how the Supreme Court is going to handle this, whether they can implement this into practice. What is your view on this issue? How do you see this 10% reservation bill? Is it a masterstroke or is it a just populist agenda by any political party, coming to power?
Actually, I would like to if this is a masterstroke, but I would like to disclose some parameter on the basis of this bill has been passed and it has been enforced. Because there is a malpractices to get the certificates of income base. But how will you give them reservation empirically? Because there are malpractices on the basis of the receiving certificates. Certificates are taken out by the some donation. You give 500 rupees and you pass the certificates by the patwaris in local. So this is not the reservation for the economically weaker section for upper class. Certificates. It is only for the upper class. You get the certificate.
Professor, this sort of certificate, fake certificates were issued on caste also for the SC/ST reservation by many people. That was still somewhat tougher because you have to produce your birth certificate and your parental background. Now it's easier. It's easier to show how many people pay taxes in the country. Not more than 5% of the people pay taxes in the country.
Right.
So if 5% or less pays taxes, and taxes are above 20,000 rupees, you know that, income per month. This is 66,000 rupees per month. So therefore, it is easy to fudge your account.
So I think this is a little laughable in a context that, like, in a sense, you are giving reservation for jobs if you are below 66,000 rupees. On the other hand, they are taxable.
Taxing the people much poorer than
that. So basically,
it's a farce of a policy. It cannot be called a policy. It's a farce of a policy.
I think even they themselves do not know how to implement. They will not even implement this.
Did they know about demonetization? I can show the records from 8th November 2016 till I think 31st of January 2017. 62 changes have been, rules have been changed after demonetization was declared. 62 changes. You make a mockery of a nation. 86% of the currency of an economy which is growing at the level of 7% is already denotified overnight. It's like a full speed car going on and you shoot the tires and the tires burst. What happens to the car? That has been happened to the Indian economy. That's what has happened to the Indian economy. This loss of 1 crore 10 lakh jobs of 2018, according to Council for Monitoring Indian Economy, is because of that. Is one major reason. There may be other reasons, but one major reason is that.
So now, with this reservation bill, I think the ruling parties or all the political parties have made a mockery out of the very basic and a very genuine concept of reservation in this country. Now, do you think the reservation should be abolished?
There should be a rethinking on that. You cannot abolish it overnight.
Why can't we? Why can't we abolish it? Because now what is left now? Who is now in general category?
No, there is nothing, no one left.
Right.
But the point is, someone after this election has to have the guts and the depth to tell the country reservation was for 10 years only. It was only for 10 years. Even Bhimrao Ambedkar and Jawaharlal Nehru and others only planned it for 10 years. So Dalits vouch by the name of Ambedkar. They must be told, yes, it's for 10 years only. But then they will say, we still face discrimination.
Right.
We still face problems. We are still poor. Fine. For that, there will be schemes. Schemes of free education or half free education.
Right.
For medical care, for health care, NRHM sort of projects, Manrega sort of projects. Let that be expanded to the urban areas also. Let there be schemes. I want to ask, Sachar committee has told 88% of the Muslim population is below poverty line. What schemes have you brought for the Muslim population of the country? What schemes in either reservation or financial schemes have you brought? So yes, for Jammu Kashmir Muslims there are schemes. I agree. Even in the universities that I have been dean of, there have been Jammu students, Kashmiri students who are coming free of cost to study.
Okay.
Free education is there. But the large masses of Muslim population have not got any benefit. Even in tribals, it is only the creamy layer of the tribal community. It is not even the scheduled caste, creamy layer of the scheduled caste. It's one Paswan family getting all benefit. There are thousands of Paswan families down the line.
I want to come to you, sir. Do you think that reservation should be abolished?
No, I don't think reservation should be abolished. It's just like a medicine to cure the disease at the level of strata, because we see regularly in the communities, in the rural, urban and semi-urban level, we find so many peoples, but how will you validate the certificates of those people who are getting the benefit of the reservation? Because certificates are easy to get. So this reservation will be benefited for only upper class, not only the weaker section of the upper class
society. Okay, now this is a genuine concern. Employment, job creation is a very genuine concern of this country, and millions and millions of people are really suffering now. Getting a 10-15,000 job is really tough in this country, in this market. A lot of surveys saying, and we also practically feel that every day. And in this context, what are the real solutions?
See, I do not think we are in a situation to answer how.
No, so in context, this government is busy now for elections. All the political parties will be busy. Yeah, why not? All the political parties are.
So everyone is सब अपने जन्म क्या बोलते हैं जन्म कुंडली को घुमा रहे हैं सबकी. ये तुम मुसलमान हो, तुम हिंदू हो, तुम आप सवर्ण हो, तुम बैकवर्ड हो, यही चलेगा.
राइट.
जो असली प्रॉब्लम होता है आपका जो आपने कहा नौकरी. Now on this point, I would like to say the nation has a population of 130 crores, out of which below 35 years of age is around 67%, which should be around 80 crores. Out of these 80 crores, organized jobs are not even 10%. 8 crore के organized job, private sector और सरकारी sector मिला के 8 crore के भी नहीं है. So 90% people are either without job or in an unorganized sector. Unorganized sector का कोई regular कुछ income नहीं रहता.
Means there is no social security for this large section of the
people. No social security. First of all, bring a social security policy. There has to be. Even the developed economies have their social security policy.
Absolutely.
So bring a social security policy. That's one point. Second, till the persons are getting bona fide jobs in either through employment exchange or any other form, they must get some minimum benefit. Like a farmer must get minimum, like basic income. Similarly, an unemployed youth must get a basic income. Now, there must be checks and balances to see that this basic income should not be given to an unemployed person when he has already got some form of employment. That's another point. But some basic income is required, irrespective of caste, community and language. Having said that, this nation can create an army of small-time entrepreneurs. There is a large number of very entrepreneurial youths in the country, but they are not neither trained properly, nor are they given any economic benefit or economic or basic seed capital to start their business. The third aspect, skilling. You think of yourself, our lives. For everything that we do in our life or people do around us, there is a scarcity of a skilled manpower. When we buy a car, we don't easily get a driver. When we have a problem with our electronic gadgets, we don't have a person who deals with it. So there is a skilled manpower problem. So if we can actually skill the nation in a big way, much of unemployment will be sorted out.
Can be solved.
So the thing is skilling, basic income to unemployed youth, and
entrepreneurship,
development of entrepreneurship, plus whatever the vacant positions of the government to be filled up. Given the
right. There are 29 lakhs vacant. So what are your solutions according to you? What are the solutions? How can we feed in or employ almost half of the population now?
Even जो आपके चैनल पे काफी लोग सुन रहे होंगे तो मैं चाहूँगा कि आवाज सब तक पहुँचे.
बिल्कुल.
हिंदी में समझ सकते हैं.
हाँ बिल्कुल. You are comfortable.
क्योंकि this government has failed totally to get the employment and to get the improvement in the education system, because there are two parameters. एक तो आप बजट घटाते हैं, दूसरा आप कह रहे हैं कि आपको जो है एजुकेशन में इस बिल से जो है, इस लॉ से जो है आपको जो वीकर सेक्शन है अपर क्लास का उसको फायदा होगा। तो आप इम्प्रूवमेंट बजट घटा रहे हैं तो फायदा कहाँ से होगा? जो कुछ है उसी में से तो होगा। एम्प्लॉयमेंट एम्प्लॉयमेंट बढ़ा नहीं रहे हैं तो इस इम्प्लीमेंट में आप रिजर्वेशन देकर कोई एम्प्लॉयमेंट नहीं उड़ा रहे हैं।
पहले बताया था रेगिस्तान में आपको 4 एकड़ मिले या 15 एकड़ मिले, रेगिस्तान तो रेगिस्तान ही है।
अब इनके दो पार्ट थे, एक एजुकेशन का बता रहे हैं, एक जॉब्स का, जो बड़ा फैक्टर।
बिल्कुल।
तो जॉब्स बढ़ाई है ना तो ऑटोमेटिक रिजर्वेशन की जरूरत ही नहीं है। जॉब्स बढ़ेगी तो रिजर्वेशन की जरूरत नहीं है। रिजर्वेशन जरूरत जब पड़ती है जब स्कैर्सिटी होती है ना, मीन्स आर स्केर्स, है ना। तो आपको हाउ टू अवेल एंड हाउ टू यूटिलाइज द अवेलेबल रिसोर्सेज, गवर्नमेंट हैज नो गट्स. Because due to the filling manure of the capacity, so it is only the Masterstroke before the 2019 election.
So, right. Thank you. Any other points?
Masterstroke was stunned.
Okay, now this is just the beginning. I mean, till the election coming, and I think we're going to see a lot of such stunned, a lot of Masterstrokes.
मैं आपको बताऊं,
what are the kind of
5 से 6 लाख तक इनकम टैक्स हटा देंगे। अभी फरवरी के पहले ही जो वोट ऑन अकाउंट लाएंगे, मोस्ट प्रोबेबली 5 से 6 लाख तक इनकम टैक्स हटा देंगे। कि सारे देश में किरकिरी हो रही है कि 8 लाख तक अगर आप टैक्स लेते हो तो फिर 8 लाख वालों को कैसे आप गरीब,
आप लिमिटेशन देखिए 8 लाख 5
तो 5 से 6 लाख तक टैक्स ही हटाएंगे, जो अच्छी बात है।
I think
क्लास के लिए अच्छी बात है।
I mean, Subramaniam Swamy has been suggesting that there should be no income tax. We should abolish income tax. I don't know.
में तो है नहीं। आप लाइसेंस भी लेते हो, इनकम टैक्स तो है नहीं यूएई में। बिजनेस तो अच्छा सब ग्रो किया है। वो अलग बात है कि उनके बिजनेस वेस्ट डोमिनेटेड है, उसमें नहीं जा रहे, पर बिजनेस तो ग्रो किया है। आप लाइसेंस फी लीजिए ना, जिस काम का जो है उस काम के हिसाब से, उसके जो टर्नओवर के हिसाब से आप लाइसेंस फी लीजिए सालाना एक बार। अब उसका लाइसेंस लेने के बाद आदमी जितना भी बड़ा करे अपने बिजनेस को, मेहनत से कर रहा है।
मोदी जी का एक चीज देखिए, वो विदेशों में घूम रहे हैं, उनको लगता है कि गरीबी की रूपरेखा 8 लाख से शुरू होती है, 8 लाख से कम वालों की, या 5 एकड़ जमीन से कम वालों की, या 109 गज नोटिफाइड और 209 गज नॉन नोटिफाइड आवासीय, है ना। इसके लिए आप देखिए कि उनको लगता है गरीब जो है अब मालदार हो गया इंडिया में। गरीब की हालत उन्होंने देखी नहीं है, क्योंकि गांव में जाते नहीं, है ना, सेमी अर्बन क्लासेस में जाते नहीं, स्लम्स में जाते नहीं, बात करते नहीं। लेकिन ऊपर से अब उनको लगता है गरीब जो है इतना मालदार हो गया है तो उनको रिजर्वेशन हम 8 लाख से नीचे का सोचेंगे। गरीब की हालत देखिए, वो 8 लाख वाला गरीब होगा, रिजर्वेशन लेना है वो तो खुद ही पढ़ाई कर लेगा।
2 स्टडी ने बताया ना कि भारत की गरीब 32 रुपया पर डे के इनकम के नीचे गरीब है। एक जन ने बताया 49 रुपया, 49, 50 मान लो, 1,500 होता है, 1,500 होता है महीने का, और आप बता रहे 66,000 के नीचे गरीब।
इस बात को सपोर्ट करता हूँ कि अपर क्लासेस में गरीब होते हैं। मेरे साथ के दोस्त रहे, उन्होंने बताया है कि अगर मेरे 2% और होते तो मैं जो है अपर क्लास की वजह से मैं हो जाता। लेकिन आपके जो ओबीसी होने के बावजूद भी आपसे बात होती है, जब नेट हो जाता है, जेआरएफ हो जाता है किसी और में, तो उनका दुख दर्द मैं देखता हूँ कि जो है हम जर्नल हैं, लेकिन आपके मार्क्स से हमारे मार्क्स ज्यादा हैं, लेकिन क्योंकि हम जर्नल हैं इसलिए हमारा नेट नहीं होता।
I want to come back to the issue of social security. Now there are a lot of politicians in today's context, just to cover up their failures, they have been propagating and provoking people to convince them that do not depend or expect any education from government institutions. Do not expect better healthcare from government institutions, because we are a privatized society now. So you depend on the private healthcare, and for that you take insurance. So they're suggesting that. I want to tell this very clearly in our show, and I would seek your view on this. Education is your right. And your government should secure it. Yes. Unless they are securing it, unless they are promising it, do not vote them. That is one.
For them, why are you charging education cess?
Right. So you are charging education cess.
2% education cess.
For what reason you are charging it? Just to provide better education. Exactly. Similarly, healthcare. If your government says to you that depend on private healthcare, do not vote to them. It is your basic right.
I totally go with you. In November, the month of November, I had a visit to Iran. And there, one of the points I found, and I didn't see anyone below 18 years working in the dhabas or streets or anywhere. And I asked some of the journalist friends there, why is it there are no youngsters in our country or Nepal or Bangladesh? So many young people are working. Young money, I'm talking of children, teenagers are working. So there is illegal here. 18 साल के नीचे अगर कोई व्यक्ति, लड़का या लड़की काम करता हुआ पाया जाए,
राइट,
तो उस जिसने उसको अपॉइंट किया है, रिक्रूट किया है, वो और उस बच्चे के माँ बाप में जो भी जिंदा है, ये जेल जाएंगे। That कानून is such a fearful कानून there's a fierce कानून, so forcefully applied,
Right.
that the entire country, अच्छा, not only that, you cannot even have someone below 18 years sitting at home. He has to go to school. स्कूल जाना कंपलसरी है और 18 के पहले काम करना गैर कानूनी है। मजबूरन में पढ़ाई पसंद होना हो तो भी पढ़ रहे हैं, लेकिन इसका एक इम्पैक्ट होता है, सारे देश में मिनिमम शिक्षा गारंटीड हो जाता है और बचपन खो नहीं जाती है, जो इस देश में खो गया है बचपन। आज आधे से ज्यादा बच्चों की कोई बचपन नाम की चीज नहीं है। So that's another big thing, that if a comparatively country which is under sanctions and so-called problems and all, if they can guarantee that, and India with 7% growth rate cannot guarantee compulsory education below 18 years, which is the directive principle of state policy,
right.
Free and compulsory education, and सरकारी शिक्षा, दिल्ली प्रदेश ने देखा, it has demonstrated, Delhi state, that government education, public education, school education can have better results in class 10 and 12 than the private education.
Yeah.
For the last 4 years,
they proved it.
Happening, it's proved. So why don't you upgrade?
It is just not, you are not able to do it.
Yes. Why don't you upgrade the problem? We do not need a mandir. We need a BR medical hospital working functionally in Gorakhpur, which is killing children there after one after another. And you are finding fault with Dr. Kafila, who was trying to protect the children. In spite of he not being on the job at that point of time. So the issue is that you are unable to protect your own institutions, your own infrastructure, because your own people are creating private sector so that the people can migrate. If not the very poor, the middle class can migrate to them and they can make money. This आपको एक चीज और बताएं, in this context let me tell something else. Ayushman Bharat. What is Ayushman Bharat? It is health insurance, not health infrastructure. So finally, he runs a big hospital, private hospital, where he's charging 10,000 rupees a day or 5,000 rupees a day. I am forced to take his support because the Sarkari hospital is of no worth. So I take his support, then request my government, part payment तुम कर दो, part payment हम करते हैं। 3,000 पर डे का लिमिट है आयुष्मान भारत में, part तुम कर दो, part मैं करता हूँ। मतलब क्या? पैसा किसका बना? Private sector insurance का बना।
We saw what happened in Kashmir.
So make infrastructure, not insurance.
Absolutely.
Give infrastructure which is free of cost or low cost. Give medicines, at least generic medicines. You don't have to look at branded medicines. Generic medicines which are free, which are supposed to be free. These are the promises of the Constitution. These are the promises that the nation has given to its state. It is the right of the people to ask for.
Right. Now, giving a broader perspective, without blaming the current ruling government, ये हमारा इस देश का बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है। हमने इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं बना पाए, हम इंस्टीट्यूशंस नहीं बना पाए।
इस सरकार को हम केवल ब्लेम नहीं कर रहे हैं। इस सरकार की जो the government is bluffing in the name of 10% what do you call quota, that we are opposing. But this has been the nature of the Indian state at all times.
Then who will do this?
It has to be people's voice again. It has to be an alternative politics. There is no solution.
Who is your alternative? Do you think Rahul Gandhi or UPA or the SP-BSP alliance or the third Gadbandhan, Mahagadbandhan that we see?
I'm not looking that way.
Do you think this?
I'm not looking. There has to be systemic changes also. It's not about changing one person with the other. When the system is corrupt, he who rules or I rule or you rule, it's only a quantum of corruption that will change, but corruption will remain. It is only a quantum that changes. There has to be certain systemic changes.
आपको क्या लगता है सर, ये जो देश की मतलब लॉन्ग टर्म जो प्रॉब्लम है, कोई पॉलिटिशियन ना तो आके आपको सॉल्व नहीं करने वाला, कोई भी करने वाला, बिकॉज दे हैव देयर ओन एजेंडा। आपको सोल्यूशन के तौर पे क्या लगता है? पॉलिसी सोल्यूशंस, ऑन ग्राउंड सोल्यूशंस, बिकॉज इंप्लीमेंटेशन इस देश की सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है। लॉ तो बन जाती है, but it is just not about the law that is going to make everything simple and easy and successful.
Implementation लेवल पे प्रॉब्लम है, पॉलिसी बन जाती है, प्रोग्राम बन जाती है,
ये तो हम जानते हैं प्रॉब्लम है, लेकिन अब इंश्योर कैसे करें, इसको अचीव कैसे करें जो हमें चाहिए?
इंश्योर तो पॉलिटिकल तरीके से होने नहीं देंगे। जैसे कि मंदिर हम बनाएंगे, अब लेकिन हम बनाया नहीं, सेंटर में आपकी गवर्नमेंट, में आपकी गवर्नमेंट है ना, 5 साल उनको और चाहिए, क्या 5 साल में वो गारंटी देंगे? लेकिन उनके होता है हाउ टू ब्रेस द माइंड, है ना, किस तरह से माइंड को वॉश करना है, किस तरीके से वोट अट्रैक्ट करना है, तो हाउ टू रन द कंट्री। अब ये नहीं है कि देश में अच्छा होगा, ये है अच्छा हो या बुरा हो, लेकिन हमारे नाम से लड़ाई शुरुआत की है ना। 2 ही परिवार है इंडिया में, ये भी एक परिवार है, संघ परिवार है,
वो भी गांधी परिवार है,
गांधी परिवार है, तो परिवार दोनों का है। ये संघ परिवार है, इसमें बहुत सारे लोग हैं, वो एक परिवार है, उसमें कम लोग हैं, तो परिवार दोनों का है। लेकिन अभी
उनके भी सारे चमचे गिन लो तो वही परिवार बड़ा है,
वही परिवार है। तो बात यह है कि पॉलिसी लेवल पे जो चेंजेस लाने के लिए आपको एक्ट्स का सहारा लेना पड़ेगा, तो एक्ट्स तो उन्होंने बना लिया, लेकिन जो रूट लेवल पे जो प्रॉब्लम्स है, जहाँ पटवारी है, जहाँ से सर्टिफिकेट्स इशू होते हैं, आप परमिट वाले के पास जाइए, परमिट रखा रहेगा आपका, है ना। आप जो है वोट कार्ड के लेके जाइए, वोट कार्ड की प्रॉब्लम है। जो वार्ड मेंबर होते हैं, अगर आप नगर निगम लेवल पे देखें तो चेयरपर्सन होता है, आप जो है नगर पालिका लेवल पे देखें तो प्रॉब्लम जो है ना रूट कॉजेज जो है आपके पब्लिक के बीच में जाने के लिए है। तो जो लोकल लीडर्स हैं उनको एम्पावर करने की जरूरत है, उनको अवेयरनेस है। तो अवेयरनेस जो प्रोग्राम,
that's a very valid and nice point that we need to empower local leaders now.
Local leaders, local people's voice.
Local people's voice also.
We have to also look at governance beyond parties. Governance through civil society.
Right.
Unfortunately, over a period of time it is happening, but in last 4 years, the voice of the civil society has gone down.
It's down.
The government is very much anti-NGO, anti-public movement. The type of movement we saw during Anna Hazare Andolan in Delhi, that is the benefit of that has been reaped by Modi. But that's okay, that's fine, that's democracy. But that type of movement is necessary. Once again,
there has to be a peer pressure on the government. There has to be
such a big movement on Lokpal has happened. The political elite was forced to legislate the Lokpal bill, Lokpal Act. Still today, after 5 years, the government which came taking benefit of the Lokpal movement, still today Lokpal
it has not polished. It has not. Okay, like I want to take the final round and final comments on this. The question is,
I will leave in a
right. This is the final comment that we're going to take.
Yeah.
That the politicians are going to fool or misdirect or direct people towards their agenda. What should be the agenda of the people? What should be the criteria of the people on which or based on which they should decide that I will vote to this person or this party? What should be the basic criteria?
My request to voters is that vote for anyone you have trust on. That's okay. That's democracy. But do not vote in the name of community or caste. Vote in the name of agenda. Vote even if the promise is big, but let them promise economic development, Naukri, Shiksha, Swasth, urban housing, rural housing, infrastructure development. In मुद्दों पे वोट दीजिए. And if you find someone who is very strong, comparatively dedicated leader in your area, whether that candidate belongs to the top 2 parties or something and someone else is fine, but vote for someone. And nota is of no worth. None of the above makes no difference. So nota is a wastage of vote anyway. It is as good as giving no vote. So better to give vote to a person whom you consider more dedicated and comparatively better in a pack of wolves, where you find someone is comparatively better. That's one. But please do not vote on an emotive agenda, because both the sides will try to appeal to emotive agenda. They will try to talk about nationalism versus anti-nationalism, showing some 3 boys. They will try to bring the issue of Mandir, which they have not done for 28 years. They will try to bring issues which divide you and do not unite you. The only things that unite you is because the Modi government Modi himself won on a development agenda, which was great, which was fine. But they've gone back on the agenda. The development agenda in 6 months had gone back. They've come to love jihad and ghar wapsi and other things.
Right.
So therefore, let the nation go back to the development agenda. If Rahul promises development agenda, so be it. If Akhilesh Yadav promises development agenda, so be it. If Modi promises, so be it. But then Modi has to answer. Whatever promises were done in the last election, where have they gone? So it's only on development agenda. Please vote and nothing else. No other criteria.
So your comment. How should people decide whom to vote?
सर की बात को एंडोर्समेंट करते हुए आगे बढ़ाते हुए मैं इनकी बात का स्वागत करता हूँ। यही बात मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि लोगों को अब जरूरत है ये जानने की कि उनके अधिकार क्या है, वो भारत में किस तरीके से एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बेस पे रह रहे हैं। हमारा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ये है कि हमारी गवर्नमेंट हमारे लिए, हमारे द्वारा और हमारे ही बीच में से है। हमारे जो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव है, चाहे वो एमएलए हो, चाहे एमपी हो, चाहे वो सीएम बना है, चाहे वो पीएम बना है, और हमारे ही टैक्स के पैसों से गवर्नमेंट चलती है। और हमको वो अगर नौकरी देंगे, हमको वो रिजर्वेशन देंगे, तो हमको वो देने वाले नहीं है, हम में से ही लेके हम ही को देते हैं। अगर हमको नहीं देते हैं तो हमारा राइट हम उनसे पूछें कि जो आपने टैक्स लिया है और टैक्स के बेसिस पे आपने गवर्नमेंट चलाने के जो वादे हमसे किए हैं उनको आप क्यों नहीं निभा रहे। सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हमारा है जो रूसों ने हमको ये सोचना चाहिए कि हमको किसी ने जीता नहीं है, हमको कोई गुलाम नहीं बना सकता कि हमको अब किला बनवा रहा है तो हमको उसमें लगवा दे, कोई पुल बनवा रहा है उसमें लगवा दे। हमने अगर हम 50 लोग हैं तो हमने 2 लोगों को चुना है कि आप हमको सेंस ऑफ सिक्योरिटी दो, आप हमको एम्प्लॉयमेंट दो, आप हमको इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर दो। तो लोगों को ये नहीं मानना चाहिए कि मोदी सरकार देगी या राहुल सरकार देगी या सरकार देगी। हमने चुना है और हम उनको पाबंद करेंगे कि आप हमको देंगे ही, अगर नहीं देंगे तो हम आपको कभी भी दोबारा नहीं आने देंगे। का क्या है कि लोग ना इतने सारे बट गए हैं, इतनी सारी सेनाएं लगा दी गई हैं, इतने सारे कार्यकर्ता लगा दिए हैं कि एक इंसान से आके ना 5 इंसान आके बोलते हैं। कभी आके उसका स्टूडेंट बोलेगा, कभी भी उसका प्रधान बोलेंगे, कभी उसके, तो जो लोकल जो पीपल है उनकी बात कोई ना सुना। जनता कहे कि हमारा नुकसान और हमारा फायदा हमको पता है, तो सबसे पहले अपने अधिकारों को जाने कि पॉलिटिकल वोट का हमारा राइट है, तो वोट देने सब जाएं।
Right.
उसके बाद ये है कि जो भी गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसी है, एजेंडे, उनको अब कंटिन्यू अपडेट करते रहना चाहिए, क्योंकि अब सबके पास एंड्रॉइड मोबाइल है। हर घर में मैं देखता हूँ कितना भी गरीब परिवार हो उसमें एक टेलीविजन जरूरी होता है। तो अब लोगों को बिल्कुल मूर्ख बनने की जरूरत नहीं है कि प्रधान जी के कहने पे वोट देंगे, कि हमारे दादा का परिवार तो सपा के कहने पे, बसपा के कहने पे, कांग्रेस के कहने पे, भाजपा के कहने पे। अब हर एक घर में अगर 5 स्टूडेंट्स है, फीमेल और फीमेल, और माँ बाप है और दादा दादी है, तो सबकी अपनी अपनी सोच है। अगर 5 लोग अलग अलग तरीके से वोट दे सकते हैं तो देने चाहिए। ये नहीं है कि बड़ा भाई क्या देंगे, दादा क्या देंगे, प्रधान जी क्या देंगे, टीचर्स क्या देंगे, या कोई डॉक्टर साहब चले जाएंगे। तो अक्सर मैंने देखा जो लोकल वोट्स पढ़ते हैं ना, तो एक बाइनरी में वोट पढ़ते हैं कि साहब हमारा परिवार तो कांग्रेस का रहा है। अब उनको मतलब ही नहीं है। ये सभ्यता और ये ट्रेडिशनल,
ये बहुत बड़ा एक डिजीज है इस देश का।
ये डिजीज है।
रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा हमारे प्रोफेसर साहब को, आप अपना परिचय भी दे दीजिए कि शुरू में आपका नाम से परिचय नहीं था।
मेरा डॉक्टर मोहम्मद शकील नाम है और मैं गौतम बुद्ध यूनिवर्सिटी में डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ सोशल वर्क में एज ए गेस्ट फैकल्टी वहां पे पढ़ा रहा हूँ, एमएसडब्ल्यू एंड बीएसडब्ल्यू स्टूडेंट्स।
मैं प्रोफेसर उज्जवल चौधरी हूँ। मैं अभी पर्ल एकेडमी बॉम्बे और दिल्ली का डीन हूँ। इसके पहले मैं सिम्बायोसिस का मीडिया डीन था, एमिनेंट यूनिवर्सिटी का मीडिया डीन था। आज के संदर्भ में डिस्कशन करते हुए अकरम साहब को बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, viewers. So we have discussed some crucial points. The 10% reservation bill, what is going to bring? You heard us, and definitely keep watching us. So the last message that our panelists gave: vote based on development agenda. Do not vote on populist agendas. Thank you. Keep watching. Do like our social media pages. Good night.